Wow. Hi, guys. My name's Naz Perez, and let's hear it for my new friend, Tramell Tillman.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is a sold-out show.
Sold out. Like all the way sold out.
Like all the way sold out that we're live streaming right now. So shout out to everybody watching on the live stream. I mean, there are people probably watching this from the bathroom.
I love that.
Like, isn't that crazy?
It's the best place to be for this.
As the board of Lumen would say, we are all jubilant at your ascendance. Truly, Tramell, I mean, it has been such a joy to watch your star rise, to watch you just give it your all with such style and splendor. Like, you truly are a tour de force.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to start off this conversation at the end because the Severance Season 2 finale was a cinematic tour de force, like the most gripping 1 hour and 15 minutes that any of us have ever lived through. And the style and moves that you bring to Seth Milchick are so swaggy. Like that marching band scene was like Super Bowl halftime worthy. And everybody agrees. When I posted that I was going to be interviewing you on social media, everybody started freaking out, including a friend of mine who actually wanted to ask you this question about the marching band scene. If we could play that clip, please.
Okay.
Hi, Tramell. It has been such a pleasure watching the 2 seasons of Severance. I especially, like the rest of the world, enjoyed your performance this season. All the nuances, just the hilarity. My question is, do you choreograph your own moves? Do you practice in the mirror? Are you modeling your moves after someone in particular? Your body rolls during the marching band scene were insane. And I'm going to try to do that myself. Thank you so much. Love your work.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I love her work. She's amazing.
She loves you. We were in the DMs like obsessing over you.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So.
And while you answer this, I'd love
Yeah.
if we could play the clip of you rehearsing that.
Oh,
actual
okay.
marching.
Well, there that is. Yeah. So this is fun because Ben Stiller said, you know, Tramell, we want you to do the band thing, right? But we need you, like, what do you want to do? And I said, okay, well, can I just come up with something? And he was like, yeah, do whatever you want to do. We're going to work the lights. So this is totally improv, y'all. Like,
What?
I'm just making stuff up, dancing around.
No way.
Totally, yeah. And, you know, so my undergrad days, I spent it at Jackson State University, and that's home of Sonic Boom of the South. And, yeah, Sonic Boom of the South. And so I never had the opportunity to serve as a drum major. You know, that leadership never fell on my shoulders, but I would practice in my own home what it would look like if I was a drum major. And who would have known that 10, 20 years later that I would get the opportunity? And that's what you see right there.
That's insane. What
Yeah.
a cool answer. So I know that you went to high school in Maryland.
I did.
Right?
Yeah.
Eleanor Roosevelt.
Maryland, all right, Maryland.
Okay.
Come on, Maryland.
Hey. And I was hoping we could put up another clip because I found this photo of you in one of their yearbooks.
Okay, where are these clips coming from? I gotta,
And-
no approval on the clips.
Welcome to a Naz Perez interview.
Woo.
And I wanted you to, one, confirm if that's you or if someone that looks just like you went to the same high school you did. And two, your marching band uniforms look like eerily similar to the Lumen marching band uniform. So is there a story there? Like, what's going on?
This is actually young Milchick. And his first day in choreography and merriment down at the Lumen. No, that was me in high school. Those were 2 of my close high school friends. I played the alto saxophone. And the 2 people I'm with, that's Tia Sorrell and Nakia Coates, they played the clarinet. And I think we had a game day and whatnot, and so we just took this picture. And that was in the yearbook, and it came back to haunt me at 92nd Street Y.
I'm so
So
sorry.
there you go.
Wait, so were the uniforms modeled after this?
No, absolutely
What?
not. No, I'm serious.
Wait,
So,
are you lying? That's insane
I'm not lying.
synchronicity.
I have no reason to lie.
Wow.
We're sold out. This is a sold out house.
that's
You
true,
can't lie.
You can't lie when it's sold out.
No,
They
you
told
can't
me
do
that
that.
this morning. Yeah.
So it's funny because Sarah Edwards, our costume designer,
Yeah.
brilliant for Severance, she reached out to me and she said, I didn't know that this photo existed. And I said, neither did I. and she said, you didn't tell me that your uniform from high school looked like Lumen. And I said, Sarah, I forgot. I didn't know. And so when I saw this picture pop up, I said, wow, that's amazing. And funny enough, that uniform also mirrors the sonic boom of the South.
Isn't that crazy? Wow.
So it was meant to be.
Manifested it. It's
Yeah,
insane.
I did.
Well, I love all the work you guys put into the marching band scene. It was such an exciting follow-up for all of us fans after we saw you dance in the Defiant jazz scene in season 1. And I was thinking, Tramell, about how you actually studied in like a lot of different music states. You went to school in Louisiana, which is like the home of jazz, Mississippi, which is the home of blues, Tennessee, which is the home of country and soul. And then I was thinking about how intimate dancing can be. It could be like shooting a sex scene, depending on the person you ask. Like a lot of people have reservations about the way they're perceived. When they're dancing, some people get scared. Are you a confident dancer? And if so, what's your first memory of when you realized you were a good dancer?
I'm now really curious about your experience of shooting sex scenes and how they relate to music. Music has always been a part of my life. There's never a day where music is not playing in my house, in my ears, It's a way in for character work. It's just a way into the soul. I love music. And as a kid, when my parents and grandparents and aunties and uncles were bored, they would make us dance for them, do a little talent show. And
Some families are doing that.
Yeah, and I hated it. I got my start in acting by reenacting Steve Urkel from Family Matters for my family because I loved Steve Urkel. And I was so nervous about it, but one thing, the note that I got from my mom is like, you have to embody his body. Like, you gotta feel it. He's in the knees, and then you gotta do the suspenders and whatnot. So everything, even that, was really just musical, and being able to put music to the text and put music to Milchick was really a way in to finding who he is.
Wow. Stefan and Steve Urkel, the first person to ever be severed on TV.
There you go.
I saw a meme of that this week. It's so funny. I love that you brought up your mom and the acting advice she gave you, because I know your first acting role ever was in a Christmas play your mom was in.
Yes.
And you played her son.
I did.
And you described yourself as being a shy child. And I
Yes.
was curious if you would use the word shy to describe yourself today.
I have learned to stay away from the term shy and now use introverted. Right. So I'm an introverted person. Actually, this is terrifying, me sitting in front of you all. But as a kid, I really was shy because there was kind of like this shame of being seen, you know what I mean? And so my mom was very keen on us being well-rounded children. It just wasn't about academic inclination, but it was also having a sense of the arts or sports or whatever it was. And so when she was recruited to be in this play, she looked at me and said, "You gonna do this too." And I kicked and I screamed and I cried, and she creatively encouraged me to get on stage. And I did, and it just connected. There was something about it, And I just had one direction. All I had to do, y'all, was just walk on stage, sit on the couch, and say hi. That was it. And I didn't want to do it. But I'm so glad I did it, because it just like that.
Something clicked in you that day.
It clicked, and I wanted to do it.
I love that story, and I love your mom
Yeah.
for making you do that.
I love my mom.
Aw. We love your mom. Well, there's a word that people are using to describe you, and it's not shy, and it's not introverted.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know about this, but I feel like it's my personal responsibility to tell you about it. And it's used in this TikTok video that a fan made of their own version of a Severance theme song that I'd love to play for you.
Okay.
Severance starts now. Best TV show in town.
There's no words.
Mark is hot, Ellie's hot, Irv is hot, Gemma's hot, Dylan's hot, Milkshake's hot. They're all really hot. Mark guess be having sex all the time with not his wife, but it's fine, not a crime. We love the guy. Here, Miss Cobell, here she comes. There's her face, shining light all over the freaking place. Quiet part.
Ooh, okay.
It's directed by Ben Stiller.
Shout out to Cam for letting me use that video. I love him.
That's fantastic.
So there's a very poignant point he makes in that video.
Okay.
And he says, milkshake's hot. And, of course, Tramell, your acting chops are a force to be reckoned with. But
Thank you.
I would go as far to say that Kim Kardashian would say you're the most interesting to look at on the show.
Oh.
And it almost feels like overnight, you've become everyone's #1 choice for people's sexiest man alive.
Oh.
And that is a lot of energy. And so I wanted to know what your reaction is to that sentiment.
Well, I'm honored by that title. I guess the only drawback is that I wasn't the first to be called hot. I was like the 5th hot. So I don't know if he's going by degrees.
They were saving I think he was saving the best for last.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Has anyone ever called you milkshake?
Not to my face. No. That name is now like attached. They don't call him Seth Milchick anymore. It's now Milkshake. That's it.
It's a sick.
It's stuck. And it's so funny how that came to be. I don't know, it's kind of one of those chicken and egg situations because there was a PA that was listening to a call as I was walking to set. And the call was, Milkshake is heading on set. The response the PA gave was, we have milkshakes on set? And then it got back to Dan. And so I don't know if Dan put it in the script because it was kind of like this moniker that kind of just went around that everyone was calling me Milkshake. And they actually put it on my trailer doors, like Milkshake. So it kind of just stuck. And I had no idea it would have the response that it did. And now they've actually turned Milchick into a milkshake. I don't know if you've seen, I've seen those.
Wow.
Seen those. It's quite kind of scary, but also endearing. I appreciate it. It's fun.
Can I tell you how happy I am that there was a story to that question? Because today that was like, is 92NY going to be so mad? I'm going to ask him if anyone's ever called him milkshake.
Nope, it's happened.
Thank God.
It's there.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I want to go back to a time before anyone's ever called you milkshake.
Okay.
I'm so fascinated by how a breakout role like this can drastically change someone's life. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the creator of Severance, Dan Erickson, on the day that he pitched the show to Apple at Apple's headquarters, after the meeting, he got in his car and he continued to drive for Postmates, because that's what he was doing at the time for a living.
Wow.
And it made me want to ask you about your life before February 18th, 2022, when Severance Season 1 premiered. What was Tramell doing on the day of his audition for Severance?
Driving for Postmates. I actually have to leave here in about 20 minutes. I have a delivery on the east side.
Oh my God.
No, so the day of the audition, I was working on a Broadway show. Yeah, it was my Broadway debut, guys.
Wow, no way.
And it closed early. So I needed a job. So this show came up, and I thought it was weird, it was strange. Ben Stiller was directing, so I was like, okay, well, just give it a shot. And so I went in Rachel Tenner's office and met with Bess, and we talked about the role. It's like any other audition. You know, you go in with the sides, you make your choices, you throw the sides away, you leave, you're done. So I got a call back. And they said in the callback, it would be Ben Stiller and Dan Erickson. I was like, oh, this is really cool. So I got to make sure I do this right. So I was working with my realtor. She was like reading the sides with me.
No way.
While she was showing me apartments. And I was like, listen, Erin, girl, I got to get this role, okay? Like, I know we're in this kitchen in this one bedroom, but like, listen, like, we got to get this scene. And she was like, let's run the scene, let's run the lines. We got time. We can show it another time. So we were doing that. And I remember the day of the audition, of the callback, right? The day of the callback. It was freezing cold. The bus was running late. I was coming from Washington Heights. I had to go into South Bronx in the studio. And I had to take the bus, I had to take the train, and I had to walk.
Wow.
So the bus was late, and I said, I gotta get on this bus. And when I'm getting on the bus, I now had to strategize if I was gonna chance the subway or just take the 15 to 20 minute walk.
My heart is like beating so
Right,
fast.
yeah, same. This is what I was doing, right? So I'm in a full suit, green coat, cold as hell outside. And I said, you know what? I can't control the subway, but I can control me. So I'm gonna chance it, and I'm gonna run like hell. So I'm running all the way through the industrial part of South Bronx. I don't know if anyone's been through the industrial part. You know what it looks like. It is a scary place. Okay? It is not cute, right? There was a guy pushing a grocery cart full of old washer machines and foaming at the mouth. And he was disgusted by me. I apparently disrupted his morning walk. And I was like, sir, please just stay there. I'm not here for you. I have to get to my callback. So I'm running, I turn the corner, there's this group of guys, it's like 4 guys standing around, and one of them says, hey, you wanna watch me whip this guy's ass? I'm like, maybe later, I gotta go. So I'm running, I go across the bridge, and there's like cars honking, looking at me sideways, my coat is flying, I'm sweating. I get to the studio, and I'm out of breath. And I said, I'm here at the studio, I think I'm not that late, I think I'm okay. So I get to the studio, and they say, we're glad you're here, but your callback is on the other side of the studio.
No.
Studio is like 2 football fields long.
No.
So I am running like hell, again,
God.
Getting to the other side of the studio. I get there, and I sign in, and luckily, no one knows that I'm late.
Wow.
No one knows I'm late. So I get myself together, I do my callback scene, and I make Ben Stiller laugh.
Wow.
And I say, that's a win. If it doesn't go my way, damn it, I made the man laugh.
Aww.
And he remembers me.
What a memorable audition day story.
Yeah, it's very athletic.
Crazy. It was very. So you get the part of Mr. Milchick,
Yep.
and on your first day on set, you're terrified because
Yes.
you hadn't been on set in a year and a half because it was the pandemic.
Yes.
And you show up, and Ben Stiller's your director.
Yes.
And your first scene partner is John Turturro.
Yep. Yep. And it's a pandemic going on. It's October 2020. We're all wearing masks and things, trying not to kill each other, you know. And I'm petrified because it's John Turturro. And I got to tell him, you know, that he has not been acting satisfactorily. It's like, who am I to tell this man? He is unsatisfactory. So, you know, I'm fumbling the lines. You know, there's choreography that's happening. There's like a rig that we're walking on. I have to walk like I'm not walking through a ladder. I have to time my entrance with John without turning around to look at John, but I have to feel him walk towards me.
Wow.
And then time it just right, and as you turn the corner, the camera's gonna turn the corner, but you have to say the line right when the camera turns the corner and like do a dance and sing a song and cook a meal. So, you know, John whispers to me, he says, Tramell, just let it go. You got it. I say, thank you, John. And then Ben says to me, behind the white walls, through a walkie-talkie, he says, guys, I have good news, I've got bad news. Good news is, we're going to do it till we get it right. Bad news is, we're going to do it till we get it right. And that gave me the laugh that I needed. And I was able to do the scene.
I love it. Wow. Yeah. And the rest was history.
The rest
after
is
that
history.
day.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I feel like all our lives changed after Severance season 1 came out. Like Succession was the only show keeping me alive, especially as a critic. And then Severance came out. And I'll never forget, I was at a coffee shop in my neighborhood in LA. In Silver Lake, and I was studying the Emmy nominees because I was going to be live on E! That weekend covering the Emmys. And I'm sitting next to this guy, and he has this huge monitor up in the coffee shop, and he has all this Severance stuff up. And of course, me with my big mouth, I'm like, yo, that cliffhanger, that season finale was like the best finale ever. And I start like word vomiting at this guy. And he laughs at me, and he tells me that his name's Dan Erickson, and that he created the show. And that's why I love living in LA. And he tells me that originally season 1, he wanted it to be 10 episodes, but Ben Stiller was like, nah, man, we got to end it here at 9. This cliffhanger is insane. And Tramell, I proceeded to ask him a million questions about Severance, and he had an answer for every single one of them. And I thought about how you have Dan as a producer on the show, and you have access to him. What was the first thing he ever told you about your character, Seth Milchick? Or maybe one of the first things that you asked him about Seth that ended up being a North Star for you?
Well, I asked him, I was like, who is this guy to you, Dan? He's like, I don't know.
What?
You know, it was like, we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure it out. He's a bit of a mystery, you know? And I was like, okay. And, you know, the prompt really was that, you know, Seth Milchick is 20s to 50s. African-American, and he's an enthusiastic company man. That was the note, guys. I had to figure it out from there.
Wow.
But, you know, throughout the process, we kept asking questions. We kept diving in. And for me, it was very important to understand his identity. So knowing that he was specifically African-American, that's what they wanted, I asked the question, does the character know he's black? You know, is he aware of his blackness in this space? And how does it relate to Lumen?
Right.
And that started the conversation about, you know, being, you know, othered in the space, or what it is to work in corporate America and you are not completely represented. And how does that feel? And we started talking about like code switching and so forth and so on. So it really just expanded. And then what we see in season 2, episode 3, is that first entrance of race into the show with the Cure paintings.
Right.
Which was a risk. It was a big risk.
It was.
Yeah.
That's crazy that Dan didn't give you that much and you built this like insane layered character. Like I have such more respect for you because I'm so captivated by the paradox of your performance. Because Mr. Milchick is someone who takes his job very seriously, and yet there's like this unserious quality about him. You know what I mean? It's like he's like this fascinating mix of control and charisma. Yeah. And then he's also ultra relatable because he's a perfectionist and a people pleaser. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I've been deconditioning from people pleasing for like 6 years now.
Good for you.
That's a
Me
big
too.
one.
Yeah.
I've heard you call yourself a reformed people pleaser.
Yeah.
Tell us about these qualities within you and within Milchick and where they meet. Walk us through the mind of Mr. Milchick.
If I tell you, will you like me later?
I will love you so much. We'll love you more.
So, you know, it was really important for me to serve the rest of the ensemble because that's who Milchick was. He was a man that I saw of service. He was servicing Lumen. He was the second hand to Cobell in that sense. So for me, the focus was really about how do I maintain the trust of these innies, right? Because if this man is really kind, you know, and if he's able to switch whenever he wants or whenever he needs to, there's got to be a level of trust there. So that was the gateway in. And then how do you find the way to manage that as well? And we see as it grows that Milchick separates himself from Cobell. His leadership skills are very, very different. And he's pushing for these kindness reforms that he later gets reprimanded for. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, why is this guy who is devoted to this company that is doing very dubious things, why is he so devoted to them, to the company? And why is he willing to put himself on the line for this company and continue to push these innies in a way that is very dangerous and toxic? And trying to find the humanity in the midst of that was really a challenge.
It was a challenge, but you pull it off effortlessly, because I feel like we can all feel that tension that Milchick has going on in his head. And that tension then translates to like this incredible tension between him and the refiners. And I wanted to tell you, whenever you say refiners on the show, it takes me back to like when Tim Gunn would say designers on Project Runway. And I get so excited when Milchick comes out and he's like, refiners. And I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
But
on the seventh floor.
On the seventh floor. And after the overtime contingency in season 1, where we see Helly R., Irving B., Mark S., their innies go to the outside world for 39 minutes, that opened up this beautiful portal for us to follow more of their outies' lives this season in season 2. But that meant double the storylines. And I was thinking about how your character is really the only one that interacts with their innies and their outies, and how you guys probably don't shoot things in order. So was that a trip for you? And what is it like acting opposite Britt and Adam and John as their innies and outies?
It felt like a game of improv. You know, you show up on set and it's like, you're going to do this. It's like, nope, change it. Nope, you have a red nose now. Nope, you have a ball. Now there's a llama. You know, it's just, okay, you know. But, you know, we were all in it together, so we all felt each other's pain, and we leaned on each other in order to kind of sustain in that way, you know? But you're right, that this is a guy who knows everything about these innies and outies, and that gives him so much power, because he can use that to his advantage to get what he wants. And we see it backfire a couple times. But he keeps going. He keeps doing it every time.
Yeah, I love those scenes when he's like interacting with the innies and the outies, because I feel like we can tell how much fun you guys are having, like acting opposite each other. The dialogue is just so good.
Yeah.
But it definitely feels like the most fun that you have while playing Mr. Milchick is when you get to express his capacious vocabulary. Like, we love when he says words like frivolity.
Yes.
And I know that you were asked in an interview, what would a solo Seth Milchick episode look like on Severance? And I think you said, I'm not sure, but I know that there would be a thesaurus somewhere. And I don't want to project on you, Tramell, but you kind of feel like someone who's a wordsmith in real life. I know you're a conduit for Shakespeare. I mean, you've played like Ferdinand in The Tempest, Laertes in Hamlet, Orsino in Twelfth Night.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite line or word or phrase that you say in the show as Seth Milchick?
Oh, I mean, devour feculence is just... It's top tier. You can't, you know, cop that, you know. One of the lines that I really do enjoy, and it actually made John chuckle, was, the marshmallows are for team players. They don't just hand them out.
Dude,
such is great.
I mean,
So great.
must have the most fun. I want to go back to devour feculence.
Yeah,
because
let's do that.
To remind everyone, it's a pivotal moment in Seth Milchick's story arc, because it's the first time where we see him tell Mr. Drummond to eat shit, basically.
Yes, yeah.
And do you know how gratifying that is for all of us at home to watch, who are dying to embody that, like, per my last email energy to him? I want to ask you this, I don't know if you can answer it, but after that scene, everyone's thinking, is Milchick gonna end up siding with the innies come season 3? Like, do you see his trajectory going there?
Yeah, that's a fair question.
I knew you were gonna answer. Okay, I tried. So another word I love that you say is this made-up Swedish word. And the reason why I love it specifically is because you and I have something in common.
What's that?
So I'm from Florida, and I'm obsessed with Golden Girls.
Yes.
And
Yep, give it up for Golden Girls. Yeah.
Give it up
yep,
for Golden Girls,
yeah.
yes.
Yes.
And so Betty White's character, Rose Nyland, she's always saying these like really funny stories from St. Olaf. And I heard that you took inspiration from her to learn how to pronounce this made-up word.
Yeah.
Why don't we watch that scene?
Okay,
And then you can tell
okay.
us about it.
In ancient times, the king of Sweden himself was known to go incognito amongst his people in the hopes of learning their true grievances. He would don an old gray robe, a krakshupen, the name for which he was remembered, to disguise his royal vestments. Keir Egan himself was known to do so in his ether factories, and Miss Egan was carrying on this noble tradition.
It smells like horse. Yeah, Swedish horse. And Irving is still dead.
As I said, Irving B's Audi has departed on
an elongated cruise voyage. Yeah, I know. Is he going to come back or not?
So good. Thank you. And actually, I have a new friend of mine that I met last week that wanted to ask you a question about that word specifically.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Hi, Tramell. This is your college professor, Dr. Mark
Oh
Henderson
my God.
at Jackson State University. So proud of you. And I just want to know, that word, gushapapu, whatever it was that you pronounced in Severance, did you learn how to do that in my training to speak in voice class? I know you did. Congratulations, brother.
You're not gonna Barbara Walters me. You're not gonna have me out here crying. You won't do it. I won't have it. Yeah, wow. That guy, Dr. Mark G. Henderson, is the reason I went to grad school to study acting. He was the one when I was floundering to figure out what I wanted to do in my life. He reminded me of my passion of performing. And I gave him every excuse in the book why I shouldn't do it, why I couldn't do it. And he said, Tramell, are you done? And I said, yes. He said, go to grad school and learn and grow. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. So that means a lot.
I had a really,
It means a lot.
we had a really great phone call about you. Are you
Yeah.
crying?
No, I'm not crying.
We had a really
What am I?
great phone call about you. He loves you so much. And he was telling me that in college, you always knew that you had a voice. And what came up for me when he said that was I realized that my favorite moments of you in the show are actually when you're saying things without using words. And I want to show you what I mean in this clip.
Oh my.
You'll find the whole care cycle. The board wishes to express that I, Natalie, received this same gift upon receipt of my current position and found it extremely moving.
I'm grateful.
Yes.
It's meaningful to see myself reflected in
The board has concluded the call.
Tramell,
Like,
that's
what
my
the-
favorite. It is my favorite scene of you. It is a masterclass in acting because you are able to embody what Milchick is feeling deep down, even though his face is saying something completely different.
Thank you.
My mom has a similar smile in our family. We call it her go to hell smile. So she's smiling and she's really like, go to hell. Tell me about getting to take your time in a scene like that, and how do you know how long to pause for?
So that particular scene was directed by Ben Stiller, and Sydney Cole Alexander, who plays Natalie. We had extensive conversation about the gravity of this scene and what that meant for these two black characters, right, that are working in Lumen, and that they both received these paintings. So Ben just let us cook. He was just like, I'm gonna stand back here, and I'm gonna let y'all do y'all thing. And Natalie and I just like looked at each other and just had this nonverbal communication with each other, and it was magic. It was wonderful.
It really was magic.
Yeah.
I know early on in your career, you studied different actors' faces really intently, like their breathing, their pacing, their face. Is there an actor's face that you studied back then that helped you create Seth Milchick?
Oh my God, I mean, there's so many actors, Jeffrey Wright, Meryl Streep, Morgan Freeman, the list goes on. And there's so much subtlety in so many of their performances that I just grasped and held on to. You know, in acting, we steal often, and you find a way to make it your own, in a way. And it was really fun to be able to embody a character that can say so much, but very little.
You kill it at that. Even your physicality. I want to talk about physicality because for a workplace drama, everyone's running up in these hallways. Like it's insane. And
we get our steps in.
It's crazy. Like Britt Lauer, who plays Helly R, she was a point guard in high school. She played basketball. And once you guys know that, you can't unsee it because she walks through the hallways like she's on a basketball court, and it's so sick.
Yes.
But Milchick is a physically demanding role. I mean, you're running, you're dancing, you're fighting a vending machine. I heard you hurt your shoulder. As someone with a sensitive stomach, I wanted to know, what do you eat for breakfast on physically demanding days?
I try to keep it light. You know, a lot of protein, drink a lot of water, you know. And, you know, you've got to be able to move in that sense. And since Milchick has such a body armor, you know, he's built very solid and staunch, you know, it's really important to keep the body loose in that.
And he looks good while doing it, too.
Thank you.
I think he's the best dressed on the show, and I'm such a nerd for design. I mean, the show is like a feast for the eyes.
Yeah.
It's like I know a lot of the clothes were inspired by Lars Thunbjork's photo book, The Office. Mm-hmm. You know, the Bellworks building that you guys use as the exterior is designed by Eero Saarinen, the Data General Dasher computers from 1984. But Seth has the best style. Did you ever come up with a backstory on where his sense of style comes from? And were you ever told, or did you decide what his sexual preferences are? Because he dresses better than any average hetero man I've ever seen.
Well, you know, we felt that his promotion was really an opportunity to let him flex a little bit. You know, he had the short sleeve shirt in white, and that was cool, whatever. But now that he's like running the severed floor, it was important that we made him look like he's running the severed floor. Yeah. And so we were able to lean in to, you know, the turtlenecks more and the darker suits and have a lot of fun on the Orpo outfit. That was like, that was dope,
good.
You know.
I actually have a clip of one of the outfits that I love that I'd like to pull up. So this was my outfit inspo for today.
Boom.
It's so good. It's so fire. I heard your mustache takes 45 minutes to craft.
It does.
And I know that you guys shot season 2 over the course of 3 calendar years. So did you have to rock this hairstyle for 3 years? And if so, were you so excited to like switch it up after season 2 wrapped?
I'm not a big, thick mustache kind of guy. It kind of just like when I see the picture, it makes me think of like a porn star, and that's kind of throws me.
Say more. Are we getting a spinoff? No. We're the Apple execs back there.
Right. The milkshake experience.
It's got a title!
I regret saying it out loud. Why did I say that?
You guys better run up Twitter after this.
No, but it's funny. I could not hide in the crowd, like in my everyday when I had the mustache. Because people would know it immediately. It's iconic now.
Right.
And so I would like rock the beard when I was off or had some, you know, extra time, and my hair grows quickly. That's why it takes 45 minutes, you know, to craft the stash. You know, they'll hit it, bop, 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 2 hours later, whoop, 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 you know, back again. So.
The automatopoeia, though.
Technical terms. It's in the thesaurus. It's in the Sethosaurus that's out there.
The Sethosaurus.
The Sethosaurus,
Wow,
yeah.
I need that Severance merch out.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So Ben Stiller obviously said we're not going to have to wait 3 years for season 3. Can you tell us when you guys start shooting season 3?
Can I tell you when we start?
Yeah. Okay. Well, luckily, we're not going to have to wait that long to see your beautiful bone structure grace the big screen, because legendary director Christopher McQuarrie is a fan of Severance and asked you to be in the next Mission Impossible Final Reckoning that comes out in May in theaters. And the trailer is dropping very soon. I don't know if I can say when, because I don't want Paramount to come after me, but I can tell you, Tramell, that I have friends that have sat in the screening
Okay.
and have seen it. And they told me that when your face came up on screen, and I'm
Yeah.
not kidding when I say this, that everyone in the theater started cheering.
Really?
And that's how magnetic you are.
I am jealous that they saw it before I did.
Yeah.
Like, Chris will not show me anything.
Can you tell us anything about your character, and is he a villain?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, so every actor has like a first day they met Tom Cruise story. Do you have one that you could share with us?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Wow, someone's laugh up there was so good.
You got the story. I said it non-verbally, right? So you were there.
You
got
are
it.
good at saying things without using words, so I'll take it. What are your baseball skills like? Because people are dying for you to play one of the best hitters of all time, Barry Bonds. What say you, sir, to a Barry Bonds biopic?
I'm saying let's do it. Batter up. I'm with it.
That's sick. I would kill to see you as Barry Bonds. And we're gonna see you on so much stuff if that's what you want for yourself, big screen wise. Like, I already know it. This is just the beginning. Before I ask you a couple fan questions, I have one more question to ask you.
Yes.
When I was speaking to Dr. Henderson, your college professor, he was telling me about the story you said, where he said in college you studied mass communications at Jackson.
I did.
You weren't really involved in theater, but you knew you wanted to act. And after you graduated, you were in his living room. And you were thinking of staying in Jackson. And he said, if you stay in Jackson, you're gonna get local and you're gonna get fat. And you decided to go to Tennessee after that and officially study acting. What do you have to say to people who are in a similar liminal space and are maybe scared to go after their dream?
Do it. Do it. You know, I didn't want to go to New York. I was terrified of New York. I didn't want to live in a shoebox apartment with 17 roommates eating ramen noodles every night. Fortunately, that never happened. You know, I had 4 jobs when I came to New York because I didn't want to be a starving artist. I didn't believe in that. I like to eat. So I figured it out. And if I can do it, you can do it too. You know?
Beautiful.
Just go for it. Try it. And if you fail, at least you tried.
At least you tried.
Yeah.
Wise words from Mr. Milchick. We love it. Okay, we have some fan questions.
Okay, here we go.
So Alex C. would like to know, Seth Milchick is one of the only main characters who doesn't have a backstory yet, ? How do you instill so much life into a character whose history is relatively unknown to the audience?
Sure. It's a great question. So part of my process in character building is just to build a backstory, because it's great building as well, and it's also just really fun to figure out who this person is and how they move and how they operate, you know? So it was my job just to really figure out who Milchick was or is and where he came from. And I created a whole journal for him. I created a playlist for him and allowed Ben to see it and Dan. And they looked at it and they did this.
So Lumen-like.
So, you know, it was a great, stepping stone to really craft it. And then those moments or details that didn't quite work, we kept the conversation going.
So can you share maybe one song that's on Milchick's playlist to get you in the mind of Milchick?
Vivaldi, 4 Seasons.
Ooh. It's a good one. Your eyes. Okay, Manuel, big fan from Venezuela.
All
We
right.
love it. Mr. Milchick seems to be the only severed floor employee that treats the innies like people rather than working tools. Do you think that is just part of his role duties, or is he genuine with this? Does that feed into his inner conflict of being at Lumen?
That's a great question. We do see that there's a struggle with Milchick. You know, I think when we see Milchick take Helly to the severed floor and take her to the break room more specifically, you know, there's that moment where Helly is trying to reason with him. I think it's like episode 4. It's like, you seem like a reasonable man. You know, you don't need to do this. And he's like, not right now. So you see that there's a toll that it takes on him. What that means, but there's something there.
There's something there.
There's something there.
We love it. Thank you, Manuel, for that question.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, the most shocking moment of season 2 was when Mr. Milchick got on that motorcycle in episode 2. What was your reaction to finding out Milchick rides something as thrill-seeking and, dare I say, cool as a motorcycle? And how did it inform your understanding of the character?
So I was at an event with Ben Stiller. We had this beautiful home in LA. And he came up to me and he said, you know, I'm thinking Milchick rides a bike.
That's so Ben Stillery.
I was like, what kind of bike? Like a, you know, regular bike? Like a city bike? Or, you know, he's like, no, like...
A city bike? Through Industrial Park?
And he was like, no, like a motorcycle. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, you know how to ride a motorcycle? No, but I'll figure it out. And so I spent a lot of time learning how to ride a motorcycle. I actually spent 2 weekends learning to ride a bike.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew nothing. My first time I crashed the bike 3 times.
No.
The 3rd time the bike flew up in the air, landed on me. I was on my back. Our stunt coordinator was like, you know what, we're done for the day. I was like, I can get back on. I can do it, coach. Come on, I'm good. It was epic. So there was massive growth from when I started to how I ended. But yeah, so what it informs about the character, I think that he's just a badass. You know, he's that dude, you know, walking around in that leather, driving around Kier late at night, delivering pine. That's that dude, man. Who else gonna give you a fruit basket? I'll wait.
Tramell Tillman, we're obsessed with you.
Oh.
Thank you so much for bringing the dopest character to life in our favorite show on TV. You are resplendent. You are luminous. You are, I'm trying to think of words.
Come on, you got it.
You're everything. And I just can't thank you enough for sitting on this stage and sharing with us how you build this incredible character.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. All the people watching from their toilet at home.
Thank you.